Okay, so yeah, CO2 will go into a cycle. But yeah, the difference, the balance, still CO2 will increase more and more in the atmosphere. And as you can see in this graphic, across time, from 1880 to 2019, the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere in ppm, part per million, is increased. You can see the red line. The red line is the carbon dioxide concentration on the atmosphere. And you can see the black line. What is the black line? The black line is actually global temperature increase. Peningkatan temperatur dunia global. And you can see the trend is quite similar. So from here we can conclude maybe the increase of carbon dioxide concentration is the root cause of global temperature increase. Oke, peningkatan konsentrasi CO2 di atmosfer ini yang menyebabkan naiknya temperatur global. Oke, so the enemy, the problem is the increase of carbon dioxide, carbon concentration in the atmosphere. And you can see the trend. The trend becomes steeper. So actually from here and here, the trend is quite mild, like this one. The increase is quite slow. But here it becomes steeper like this one. The gradient, the trend becomes steeper. Why? It's because of industry. Okay, we burn more oil and gas. We burn coal to get energy, to get heat for our transportation, for flight, penerbangan, right? For electricity, we consume oil and gas and we produce CO2, and the concentration is increased in the atmosphere and the temperature also increased. Okay, so yeah, you can see the increase in concentration is quite huge. Before industrial era, okay, before industrial revolution, sebelum revolusi industri, the concentration is around this one, 270 ppm. But now we increase so much. Now we are in 410 ppm. Okay, and this is actually a video. Okay, you can see we are still in 1980. You can see this watch, this time 1983. And this graphic shows the change in CO2 concentration, the left one, starting from 330, and then here 430. And you can see here, yeah, this axis is CO2 concentration, and this shows the change in CO2 global temperature. You can see the trend was increasing higher and higher and higher and higher. Now we are in 2000, the year 2003, increasing, 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 right? You see this trend, CO2 is increased. We produce, no, we drill more oil and gas. We go to the sea, offshore, onshore. We produce CO2 emission everywhere, right? So, and it is quite steep. Terjal sekali, tajam sekali gradiennya. Alright. Now, what about in the past? Bagaimana masa lalu? Let's forecast what happened in the past and see, compare the gradient, right? Here, before 1950, here in 100 and 1900, the increase is quite slow, right? The increase was quite slow, but after industrial revolution, the increase of CO2 concentration is quick, very quick. right? Steep, very steep, sangat terjal, right? You can see in the year 1000 to 1800, the CO2 concentration was quite stable and quite low. But after the industrial era, the concentration increased dramatically, increased significantly, and that will become global problem. And if we forecast, yeah, this is the trend again, CO2 parts per million ppm from 1990 to just 2020. The trend is like this. It's quite linear, okay, quite linear. And if we forecast, if we predict what will happen in the year 2050, what will happen? Okay, you can see this message. If the if the pace of rising emission concentration continues unabated ini maksudnya dicegah gitu ya, di stop, atmospheric levels will surpass 450 ppm well before 2050. Okay, kita akan mencapai 450 here jauh sebelum 2050. And if we just do simple forecast, linear forecasting like this, by some simple calculation, yeah, CO2 increase is equal to the population multiplied the GDP per population multiplied by BTU, energy consumption in BTU per GDP multiplied by CO2 increase per BTU minus CO2 that is taken by the ocean, by the earth, by the land. If we just do simple calculation, we can predict the CO2 trend will be like this. And you see the pre-industrial CO2 concentration was just 280. But by prediction, we will surpass this 450 ppm. And that will be problem, big problem. Okay, we will have climate change. Okay, and this is another trend, industrial age. Industrial age is just here. Okay, and then petroleum age here, it became steeper. Okay, if we just forecast, the trend will be like this. If we do reduction, it will be the trend will be quite slower, yeah, milder, but it's still not enough. If the reduction still to be realized, ini adalah target yang kita butuhkan sebenarnya. Masih jauh, ya, masih jauh target yang kita harus capai. Oke, ini adalah targetnya. This is the target. But if we just forecast, the trend will go up like this. Jika kita menurunkan reduksi, the trend masih seperti ini. So the homework is still big, okay? Big homework for all of us. And the issue will become climate change.